The number one reason why having bad days is so important is because how would you know what a good day is like? How would you have learned if you didn't go through certain chapters and certain moments in your life? Welcome back at your favorite mental health specialist, High Guidance, and that is what we're going to be talking about in today's video. Now, excuse me. Now, with that being said, because there's no right or wrong way to heal yourself, always and only take what resonates as well as leave the rest. So if it doesn't apply, then that means it's not in line, which means it is not for you, so don't force it. As well as grab your pens, grab your paper, and be prepared to take notes. For today's video, we're going to go over and discuss why bad days are important, as well as what you could do and what you should be aware of as you're going through certain moments of your life, as well as certain disclaimers, certain reminders, certain recommendations, and just things that is going to help you move forward. Starting off with the disclaimer, starting off with the introduction. The main reason why we have bad days is so therefore we can learn what it's like to have a good day. Like, if you didn't go through certain moments of your life where you thought it was so bad, how would you have known to not continue those same lessons or those same chapters? And I'll wait. Speaking from experience, what has helped me along my healing journey was to accept that the bad days of my life were valuable lessons. So therefore, if I did not want to continue the same lessons, I had to learn from them. Now, this doesn't mean, and this is going to be the second disclaimer, that your feelings are not valid, which you need to work on, regulating your nervous system, regulating your emotions. But it's like, it happened. And it is what it is. And at the end of the day is going to end, and you can't go back and change what was. And I'm speaking from experience. This is not to invalidate how you felt. This is not a channel for people who are not going to be able to hold themselves accountable. We motivate, inform, and educate. So if you want things to be sugar-coated, you need to get you some cotton candy. The reality is that you did go through certain moments in your life where you made certain choices and maybe you weren't proud of them. Whoop-de-doo in my young thug voice. That's fine. Why? Because it happened. We make choices, we make decisions based off of what we're taught and shown, what we witness, what we're exposed to. So if you didn't have the exposure such as the finances and the resources and the tools and the educations and the wisdom and the guidance that you've learned over time or that you know now, how would you beat yourself up? Why should you sit here and dwell on the past? Why hold a grudge? How's that been helping you? Because it's not. So the third disclaimer is allowing yourself to process what you've gone through. Holding yourself accountable is not an attack. The only people who feel attacked when they're being held accountable are people who have been enabled. Or maybe you weren't taught and shown, but if you're choosing to be on this account, you're choosing to watch this video all the way to the end, and your notifications are on, you have no excuse, babe. We're not here to make excuses. Because the reality is, you are the only person who's responsible for your life. And if you're not where you want to be, if you're not happy with where you are, and you haven't been happy, it's up to you to change it. If you don't have the finances, if you don't have the resources, if you don't have the tools, if you don't have the support, how's your life going to be any different than what it was? So the fourth disclaimer is knowing what you have control over and what you don't. Sometimes in life you have control, sometimes you don't. A lot of times when you're young, you're being told what to do by your parents, your caregivers, whoever raised you. You're being informed and educated by your teachers, by your professors, by the people amongst your peers, your coworkers, your classmates, your communities, your neighborhoods. And who's to say that it's good or bad, right or wrong, or positive or negative, unless you are able to realize how certain things make you feel, until you're able to realize what's for you and what's not. In order for you to appreciate bad days is to accept what you have witnessed, what you have learned. You may think, oh, it's the end of the world, when it's not. And those bad days that you've encountered were days where you were supposed to learn about yourself and others. So lastly, if you don't want to continue to have bad days, you have to acknowledge what has been happening to you and why. The bad days that you experience have purpose. Now, of course, when you're going through days that are rougher than others or seem longer than others, this doesn't mean that your feelings aren't valid. This doesn't mean that you're not angry. This doesn't mean that you're not sad. This doesn't mean that What you're feeling is not true, but it's not permanent. It's up to you to experience your life and to live your life and to identify how you feel. And if you want to continue to feel, because that's going to be part of the first recommendation. You don't have to have a bad day every day just because you struggled and suffered in your past. And speaking from experience, if you know you've struggled and suffered from your past, why would you want to continue? So like me, I've talked about some of the trials and tribulations that I've gone through. I don't want to continue to live like that. So what have I done? What have I learned? I've had to hold myself accountable. I have had to be honest about how I felt. I've had to come up with solutions. I've had to do the work. This is why I make these videos. When I talk about not having finances in my early 20s, I didn't like that. Why? I grew up fortunate. I grew up with a silver spoon. And regardless if I grew up with a silver spoon or no spoon, I know that that's not the reality that I'm meant to live. I know that I'm allowed to have more. I know if I work, that I deserve what I sow. You reap what you sow. I know if I've done the work, I deserve the outcome. Now, of course, when I get it, how I get it, that's going to happen, inshallah, when it's time. That's out of my control. But what is in my control is doing better, using what I have, not feeling bad about the days that I went through. Because those days where I didn't have certain materials and certain finances, I was able to learn, like I said, a lot about myself and just the world in general. So the second recommendation is understanding when you are having a bad day, you need to ask yourself why. You have to start clocking it immediately, because once you're able to witness and you're able to comprehend what it is that you're going through in the moment, you can come up with a solution. You're not going to be able to come up with a solution if you're not even able to identify your emotions or the triggers that have been challenging you. And that's going to be the third recommendation. You have to start paying attention. You need to start being honest with yourself. You need to start holding yourself accountable. You need to start asking yourself, am I having a bad day because I am doing everything that I need to do? Or am I having a bad day because of the company that's around me? Am I having a bad day because I showed up and I gave 100%? Or am I having a bad day because I didn't? Am I having a bad day because maybe I don't have everything figured out? Once you're able to sit with yourself and you're able to pinpoint where the source is coming from and why you're able to feel how you feel, you can come up with a solution. So if you're having a bad day because maybe you weren't taught and shown how to deal with good days, you then can ask yourself, okay, well, what can I do? I'm on YouTube. I follow Ty Guidance. I'm pretty sure she has a video. She has over 1,100 plus videos on how to deal with good days, how to have a better days. Let me watch that video on YouTube. Or if it's not me, go on YouTube. How do I have better days? What can I do to have a better days? You're on your phone, you're on your tablet, or you're on your TV. You can go to the library. If you want to have better days in life, you have to realize what you can do. If you don't want to continue to have bad days in life, you have to be real. You have to feel, and you can't deny the days that you quote unquote feel bad, because it starts off as a bad day when you're ignorant, when you're not emotionally regulated, when your nervous system is discombobulated, when you're all over the place. Over time, as you practice, as you continue to show up for yourself, as you take the time to invest into yourself, you research, you seek assistance, you're following this account, you're seeking therapists, God, answers to the universe, take what resonates, leave the rest, then more and more and more, like I said, you'll become educated, you'll become equipped. And when you become educated and when you become equipped, you have the capacity. And once you have the capacity, you'll be able to move forward and you'll realize, oh, it wasn't really a bad day. It was just I wasn't where I needed to be. Like, a lot of times you experience bad days when you're not where you need to be and when you're doing things you're not supposed to be doing, when you're around the wrong people. If you were to evaluate and look at your life compared to what you've had to overcome and what you've had to change in a positive way, what was the reason? So on your notes, I want you to start paying attention to what you focus on, what you're investing into, and how it's making you feel. If something is not making you feel good, you need to start removing it. You can't make excuses for things that you want if you're not willing to let go of what you don't need or what no longer serves you. If certain people are making you feel like you're having a bad day, stay away from them, avoid them. And I'm speaking from experience. Like, me personally, when it comes to certain people and places and things, like, I know that they have an energy that I'm not compatible with and I don't want to resonate with. I avoid them because it's like, I'm not going to allow them to disturb my peace. I'm not going to allow them to get towards me. But it's like, if you have to be around certain people, that's just your friendly reminder that you're not meant to be around these people much longer. And eventually you won't. But it's like, you have to be able to know that about yourself. You got to start paying attention to yourself. You're having a bad day? Well, why? Is it because you have control over the situation, or is it because you don't have the control over the situation? And if you don't have control over the situation, articulate yourself, express yourself. And that's the sixth recommendation, even though I said I was gonna give you 5. Be honest about how you feel. Like, speak up, communicate, express yourself. Closed mouths do not get fed. If people don't have the emotional capacity to listen to what you're saying, stop speaking to them. If you've been having a bad day, I want you to let me know why, so therefore we can come up with a solution. Because at the end of the day is gonna end, and there's only 24 hours in a day. So worrying about things that have already happened is not going to change your reality. Holding on to mindsets and behaviors that you're meant to outgrow is only going to keep you stuck and stagnant. And when you become stuck and stagnant and you're not in the current moment, you're not being present, you start to worry, you start to doubt. And then you feel like you can't move forward, and that's not the reality. A lot of times people have bad days because they've overstayed their welcome in certain chapters of their life. They didn't learn the lessons. They didn't realize why they had to go through certain things. They weren't able to alchemize the situation. And it's like I said, it's one thing if you weren't taught and shown. That's your past. But if you choose to be here, you're choosing to subscribe, what are you doing? Don't just be here just to be here. If you want to see me, follow me on all my other social media platforms. Okay, if you just want to see me. But for those of you who are here, you need to be engaging. You need to be asking questions. You need to be taking notes. These videos are for you. They're not for me. So with that being said, whatever questions, comments, concerns, let me know what resonated with you, what we need to work on. Book your service in your session if you want like a more intimate setting vibe. Follow me on all my social media platforms. But if you want me to go live talking about this in real time, drop the word live and I'll head to Instagram and on TikTok and see you there. But I love you. You are loved. You're not alone. Until next time, thanks for watching. Peace.